Yum, yum!
Greg here from Pixel Fondue. So Kai, who's a MODO genius over in Japan, made this really cool little animation here of these bevels swimming around the surface with these replicators, replicated teapots stuck to the top. His is cooler than mine, but I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to do the replicators too. I ended up doing trying to do like an Apple logo. So I just had the Apple logo from the last one. I'm not obsessed with Apple. But this didn't turn out as cool as his. But it is. There's an extra step where you can actually constrain it to a shape of whatever logo you want. So that's the sort of effect, this cool sort of swimmy effect of these bevels. And yeah, so let's jump over to MODO and check it out. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create a plane. This is what we're going to be slicing up and beveling and doing stuff with. So if you don't have an empty mesh item over in the item list, just press N, hovering over there, and you'll get one. I'll rename that plane. Otherwise, if you've got one there, just select it. And then I'm going to pop open the modeling stack. I'm going to collapse my direct tools because I don't think I need those. And I'm actually going to do a mesh stack here, a mesh ops stack. So you don't need to use these, but they're kind of enjoyable to use. There's some nice things about them. There's also some things about them that aren't so great that this gives me an opportunity to complain about some things. So I'll be complaining a little bit about the preset browser and some other stuff here. But in the meantime, I think it's actually just add selected to get over here in the schematic. You can close the modeling stack viewport, and we're just going to work here in the schematic. So it's kind of cool. There's a couple of things you can do. You can twirl this down here. First complaint, it says Deformer Stack. It's not a Deformer Stack. It's a mesh operation stack. It has deformers or mesh operations. Anyway, shouldn't call it a mesh op stack and then call it a Deformer Stack in the title. That's a weird thing to do. It should be fixed. Anyway, there's a little plus there to add new mesh ops or deformers to this. But the cool thing is you can just grab the little purple noodle and drag it out and let go, and it'll pop open the preset browser, which I really like. And you can see I already have cube typed in here into the search. Another problem I have is it always keeping the last typed in thing in the search, but I'll complain about that later. Anyway, so just space to pop open your mini props if you want, and 0 in size and Y, and now we have a plane. We don't need to add any segments or anything like that. Just a regular old plane is fine, and we'll keep it there. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump out of this, and we're going to make some cutter objects real quick. So I'm going to press N for another new mesh item, call this cutters, and we're just going to go to top view, I'm going to turn off the grid, and actually I do need this open for just a second. Just grab the cube tool, and we're just gonna quick and dirty make some slicing planes, right? So I'm just gonna draw one here. In fact, I'll go to wireframe so you can see a little better. I'll draw one there, maybe hold shift and draw another one there, hold shift, draw another one, maybe like this or something, and then hold shift and draw maybe like one more. Just do 4, looks good. So we have these four planes now, right? In fact, I'll hide our main plane, these 4 polygons in this one group here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create transform effectors for each of these really quickly. So if you go over here to the animation or rigging tab or whatever this is, and under deformers, I'm just going to click transform, and that's going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to automatically create a weight map. So you can see it created a weight map there. Transform weight. It also created a locator, and it linked it all together. So if I were to actually throw this down here in the schematic, you would see this is connect to the influence, which is set up with that weight map. And then it's also connected to the geometry of this cutters group. So this transform effector, if I show locators here, I move it around, I'm just moving around that polygon. So I'm just going to do it to all of these. I'm just going to select this polygon, click that, did the same thing, select this polygon. I don't even have to click that. I could just do Control R to redo the same command. Did that, and Control R here. I use this workflow a lot when I'm dealing with curves and want to create like a locator at each point of the curve. I'll just select a curve, hit the transform button, and then select another point on the curve, Control R, another point, Control R, another point, Control R, and you'll have locators all along the curve with the weight map for each point. So that's a really useful thing to do. So now that I have these transform effectors on here, I'm actually going to, let me just move them up above real quick. I'm going to select my cutters item, space for mini props, add draw options, draw style wireframe. Wireframe, we're going to go to user color, and user color, we're going to do like a purple, just to make it like that. And then I'm also going to go to the assembly tab, and where it says select, I'm going to say no. That way I can't, in item mode, I can't accidentally select it, right? But I can select my locators to move them around. So I'm actually going to shift select all my locators. And you can either go down here to down to shape and add a custom shape. I like to use the Eteria little quick locator script. There's a whole video on PixelFun doing this. If you don't have this, it's like the most used thing you do in MODO, for me at least. I'm always using this. I think it's the best. So I want to make them circles, and I want them on Y, and I want them see-through, and I want them green, and I want them a little bit smaller, like 0.1. So there we go. So now these are super easy to grab. I can grab these guys and move them around. And this is what we're going to use to create the slicing in our plane. So let's go back to our plane, turn our plane back on. And then I don't really need this in the viewport anymore. So I'm going to just right click, drag, select all of them, and then remove nodes. Don't delete them. If you delete them in the schematic, you delete them from the scene. Remove from the viewport is what you want to do. Okay, so remember we can just drag these things out. So I'll drag out another one, and we're going to do an axis drill right here, axis drill. And again, if I can see this in all my videos, like these cool icons are from Warren's icon kit. Go buy it. It's every MODO user should have it. So we've got some options here. Template surface, that's the surface we're going to use to do our cutting. That's the one we just made. That cutter's one. We want it on Y, right? So it's going to slice down on Y. And we don't want core, tunnel, stencil. We want slice. So I'm going to select slice, hit OK. And if I look here, or if I select this and isolate it, you'll see little slices, right? So there's little slices coming from our cutter object. Now, this is the one weird part of this whole tutorial, and I couldn't figure it out. And I had to look at the original scene to see what Kai had done. And this must be a bug in MODO. There's something going on. But anyway, to make this work, so again, let me just show you. So we saw that there was the little cuts, right? And so if I drag this, take this, let me make sure I can see my locators here. If I grab this locator and move this guy, I should be able to create new cuts there. But if I'm hiding this, I just see the original cut. Like it didn't create a new cut when I move the locator, which, the whole effect depends on moving these polygons around to, move the to create these dynamic slices. And for whatever reason, you have to just move this cutter mesh slightly. So if I put it up to like 0.01 on Y, now it's working. So now when I start moving these cutters around, you'll see, hopefully you can see the slices in there. When I start moving these guys around, it'll move the slices with it, right? So if I move this over here, you can see like that little, almost looks like a drop shot of that little slice there moving with it. That's what we want. So you just gotta nudge that cutter on a transform, move it up Y 10 millimeters or something, and the effect will work. I have no idea why it doesn't. I guess it's a bug. I don't know. But you do that and it'll work. So now we have it slicing, right? And so we can actually even hide the cutter objects, and we just see the transform effectors here. And I can move them up a little bit in Y so we see them a little bit better. See them like that. Show the cutter, there they are, right? So what we're going to be doing here is just moving these guys around, animating them, like moving them, transforming them, or scaling them, and that's going to create our dynamic cutting effect. So why don't I just do that real quick? So I'm just going to move all these guys around. I'll just turn them back on real quick. So we have 150 frames here, so we'll just kind of loop it. So the first, let's turn that into my motion graph here. I'm just going to press Shift W to set a keyframe there. I'm going to go to 150, Shift W again because I want it to end up there, and then go like halfway through, which is at frame 75, and I'm just going to move this one over here. And then this one right here, I'm going to, again, Shift W at 0, Shift W at 150, go to 75, and I'm going to move it maybe down here a little bit. And then this third one, again, Shift W, then at 75. Let's move this one over here like this. And, actually, why don't I scale some of these too? So let me just go back to 0, Shift R for scale, Shift R for scale at 150. So we got scales on both sides. In the middle, 75, let's scale this guy up a little bit like that. So this guy is going to loop like that. Let's do a scale some of these other guys as well. So Shift R, and at 75, maybe we'll scale it down just a little bit. And then the second one, Shift R, and in the middle, you can definitely art direct your slice movement more than me, but I think I'm gonna shrink this one too, actually. And then the last one, Shift W and Shift R, and we got keyframes on both sides for scale and movement. And then I'm gonna move this way. Maybe I'll just move this way, and then I'll scale this one up a little bit. So maybe even a little bit more on this one. Kind of a big scale. So we've got some movement here. In fact, if I go to wireframe and select my plane and just sort of drag through it, you'll see those, cuts happening, right? So they're just animating and then they go back. It's just a loop, right? So good enough to show our effect, but feel free to modify your animation however you want. All right, so there's our animation. Let's go back to the schematic and start, applying the bevel effect. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is just drag out from into the purple here, and I'm gonna add a polygon bevel. And you can use many props by pressing space, turn off group polygons, and then you could shift like maybe 0.5. And let's just go back to a solid view here. So we just shifted up 0.5. Now they're all up, the same distance, right? So you may be thinking to yourself, well, maybe we should use like the random effects over here. That's not actually what we want to do. We're going to apply a fall off to this, and we're going to use an area fall off. So polygon bevel and the tool pipe here. Now here's where I'm going to complain a little bit about mesh off stack. It's so cool to just drag purple and like get something, but that doesn't work on any of the nodes that are created. It only works on the mesh off stack node. A little inconsistent. So now I got to add from here. I'm just going to add an area fall off, and I'm going to plug that into the tool pipe slot where it goes. And you'll see now everything is a slightly different size based on the area of the polygon. And you can mess around with this a little bit. One of the things, we can maybe bump the bevel up a little bit like that. And you can see like they're all fairly close though. Now, one of the things I've noticed, and Kai must have noticed this too, because he has this in his mesh op, is if I add another one, if I add another mesh op, if I do a edge split here, and I take my edge split and I actually drag it down between polygon bevel and axis drill, I get a more pronounced effect. And so what that did is, if I turn off edge split, you can see it changing here. And this is, again, I like this about the Deformer Stack, because I can rearrange here and I can drag them up and down here and add new ones really nicely. One thing I don't think you could do is delete them. You can't right click and delete them, or just, you might be able to just delete. I'm not going to try it, but you have to open up, I think you have to open up this to like delete them, which is annoying. But anyway, so there's more of a height difference with edge split on. It's sort of, I guess, splitting up the values. I guess if the polygons are split and no longer connected, the area algorithm works a little bit differently. But anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at there. And you can, this does have a little adjustment here if you want to mess with the gradient a little bit. Just go like this, and you can go in here and you can see like you can kind of make it more of a smooth angle or something. So there's a little more separation between them. So that's fine. We don't have to do that, but that's basically what we want. Now, if you drag through here, you're getting this really cool, like fluid, swimmy effect of these bevels. I mean, I just think that's super cool looking. And there's a lot more we could do with it. And because we did this polygon bevel, they're all separate pieces now. And so you can do different things with that. We've got polygon islands. You could run mesh ops on polygon islands and do some more work with this if you want to. Assign different weight maps to different polygon islands. There's a way to do that I've shown in some other videos. But so let's just kind of move on. So I'm just going to move my polygons up here, move this down a little bit. And so, this is good enough, I think, for what we're doing in terms of just getting some cool sort of bevelly motion. So let's slice out a logo now. So again, I'm going to just drag out, and this time there's various different mesh ops you can use for this. I'm going to use a curve slice for this, and the reason I'm going to be doing that is, I'll tell you in a second. And I'm going to use my Apple logo, which I used in that previous tutorial, and I just had here in the scene. There it is, my Apple logo. You can kind of, let me just sort of move it up a little bit. So do you see that guy there? I should maybe make that a different color. Let me just draw option, draw style, wireframe, user. What's Apple logo? What should that be? I don't, yeah, well, we'll just make it blue. Okay, so there it is, right? And so this is going to be slicing down from our curve slice. So I'm just double clicking the yellow to get our various nodes here visible. So here's our curve slice, and it needs a direction, Y, which we'll use. And you can see it slicing into this, right? So you can kind of see the slice there. But what this does is it'll just take, that Apple logo is two curves. It's the leaf and it's the, you know, main apple, right? And there's actually, if you click on the path generator, there's a curve index 0 or 1. So there's 1, you can see the apple. It goes 0, there's the leaf. So let's just start with the apple section. And now I mentioned I like using the curve slice, and here's why. Because I can go to the path generator and I can change the steps. So if I change this to like 40, I get a more, let me just turn on verts, I get a more, you know, I can control the smoothness of this. So if I go up to 100, it's even smoother, right? And so maybe I'll go like, you know, 60 or something like that. Looks pretty decent. I like it. But instead of slice, we're going to use a different operation. We're going to use Stencil. What Stencil will let me do is it will let me create a material. So I can just call it material apple like that. And then if I go over here, what it's doing is it's slicing, but it's also slapping a material p tag onto those polygons inside the slice. And if I go over here in the shader tree and I add a new group and I add a new material to that group, and we'll just make the material red, and then nice deep appley red, and then maybe not quite that red. Maybe. See, now I get picky about colors. Okay, good enough. And then we'll just make sure the group polygon tag is set to apple. There we go. Okay, I think you see where we're going with this. And then we do need one more, right? We need one for the leaf. So again, it would be nice, like, you know, some of these, you know, like curve extrude or curve sweep. Like curve sweep lets you use all curves in a mesh. You just have a sort of dot, dot, dot here in the index. That's no bueno with curve slice. It just wants one. So we'll do one, and then we'll just do another curve slice. Now here is where I start complaining again, because I want to add a curve slice, okay? And it says modifier, so I can add. Now it's nice to be able to add an existing mesh operation from this scene, but what we have here is, because it keeps the last search in the search box, as if you always want to search for the same thing twice in a row, it's showing me the existing and new mesh op. So it's showing me the existing curve slice that's in the scene, and it's showing me the new one that I really want, except it's defaulting to the existing one. That's how it defaults, which is too easy to re-add the same mesh op you've already put lower in the stack up higher in the stack instead of creating a new one. It should be fixed anyway. So we want a new one. We want to do the Apple logo path again, but this time we do want the we want it to be Stencil, and we want the name to be Apple, and yes, we want it to be maybe 40 or so. That's quite a few actually. Maybe 24 is fine. Yes, an index 0 this time instead of index 1, which is just slicing back into our original apple, right? So now we've got yeah, we've got an apple stenciled into our bevels. And now here it's really kind of up to what you want to do. Like, it looks kind of cool just, you know, stenciled there. It's actually a kind of a cool looking effect if you want to, you know, do an animation with this. But if you want to like delete those white polygons, you can do that too. So let's do that. So first off, let me just collapse that guy again to give us a little more room. And I'm going to drag both of these. Let's just turn this stuff off. I'm going to drag the curve slice, both of these guys, underneath the polygon bevel, which will go away in a second here. So we're doing this and then we're beveling. You can kind of see what's helping here is we're going to get these edges. And so when we delete, and we go in here and just reposition these. Oh, what we do for auto arrange of nodes in MODO. Now let's just add a delete node. And set it to polygon. Everything's gone, but we're going to add a select by polygon, or yeah, select by polygon tag. So select by polygon tag, and that tag will be the material, the apple material. And that's just, then we're just going to invert that, right? So let's apple material and then invert. And you can see we've got these edges here. That's why we did the slicing before the beveling, because if we had, for instance, beveled prior to those slices, we'd lose those edges on the sides. We want to slice everything up and stencil everything up first, and then we bevel. And now we've got this just, you know, there's your logo with that cool effect. And so we can do a lot with this once we're here. For instance, if you want to deform it, you could very easily just, again, add an axis slice. So right here, axis slice. And if I add like, say 20 in X and 20 in Z, you see you've got all these slices here. I can even add like 4 in Y or something. And then you can deform it. So if I wanted to add a bend, I can go here and say bend, or you could do something really cool like a UV transform and, you know, bend it around another item in the scene, something like that. So, you know, here's my bend. Let me just turn on my locators here. There's my bend locator. So I'll just rotate this guy down 90, negative 90, and move it. I'm just demonstrating this. But if you wanted to start doing deformations, you can just, you know, add that. Whoops, let me get my bend effector here and press C for channel hall. And it bends really nicely, right? So there's a nice bend in it, and all those bevels are still happening, right? So just hit play and play in real time. Pretty cool. I mean, let me hide the locators and the grid. So yeah, you can do, I mean, there's some cool effects you can do, obviously, once you get this whole thing set up, and you can even deform this thing. And because it's doing all the slicing and stenciling and beveling first, and then the bending afterwards, you know, it all just works. So nice deformer stack, MODO. Okay, so I don't actually want this bend for what I'm going to do, so I'm going to unhook it and delete it. And we are going to add little replicas. I'm going to actually delete the slicing too. I don't want that. We're going to add a little replica in the center of each of these polygons. Now, Kai did this a little differently in his scene that I'm going to do in this one, but it's essentially the same. I just think this is maybe a little more intuitive way to do it. Okay, so this won't be perfect because I don't know how to put them at the exact center of every polygon, but we'll see what we can do here. So I'm going to just in for a new empty mesh and call this points for replicators. And of course, the other thing we want to do is replicator is you know, have larger prototypes, little IMAX in this case, on the bigger polygons and smaller ones on the smaller polygons. So I am going to start off with we could just do another stack, I guess, like another mesh op stack, and drag that down to the schematic. We'll just have them side by side here. And to start this one off, let's add a merge mesh. Merge meshes. And we are going to merge in our bevel source here. So we're going to do existing, and we're going to pick our plane. I guess we can call it something better than plane, but it's called plane. So if I hide my original plane, now I have this, you know, exact replica over here, and over on this mesh stack, all this stuff is sucked over here. So I need to add one more mesh op on this side first. And so I'm actually going to drag out, and let's do a selection set. So assign selection set, and we want to assign a polygon selection set. And we actually are going to drag this right above polygon bevel, so right below delete. Just going to delete up a little bit. And we are going to do a selection operation, select by previous previous, select by previous operation. And so we're just going to, go to the bevel, and we're just going to select the, front polygons there. So that's the top one. And you can always go over here to the stats and just sort of check to make sure that worked. So our polygon by selection set, whoops, again, over here, let's go to selection set, make sure it's set to polygon. Oh, we didn't give it a name. Top. Did I not type that in? Top, and then go over here, and you can see top is right there. So there we go. And then that flows over here to our merged one. So this merge meshes is, it's kind of cool. You can sort of filter what sort of geometry type that's contained in that mesh item. Faces, curves, Bezier curves, whatever. You can also have it bring over UV maps or weight maps or selection sets. Make sure that's clicked selection set. So now when we're over here, we have access to that selection set top. And so when we delete everything but the top, we just go in here and delete. And we don't want an existing one. We want. See, again, this is where I'm getting annoyed at this preset browser, because I just hit delete and it grabbed an existing delete node instead of doing a new one. So annoying. Anyway, make sure your nodes you're adding are new ones, not existing ones. And so the delete is going to have a select by selection set, obviously. So we want a select by selection set. And that selection set will be the top one, and we'll just invert it. So we can delete all the polygons but the top one there. So we'll just say top. And make sure delete is set to polygon. So we're deleting polygons, not vertices. And then on our selection set node, we're just going to invert it. So now we just have the top ones. And now I'm going to set a weight map here. And this is how we're going to adjust the size of our prototype. So we're going to set weight. And we'll just call it weight. That's fine. And you can see it over here in the vertex maps, weight. You can see it's all red, but we're going to actually do another area fall off. So fall off by area. Or just area fall off. There it is. And now you can see we've got some sort of faint pinky ones going there. Don't worry about the intensity of it. We can deal with that later. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remap that weight map into a particle size map with a remap weight mesh op, which is pretty cool. So we want remap weight, and what this will do is it'll ask for the weight map we want to start with, and that's the one we just created. So we'll just type it in here. It'd be nice if there was a drop down there instead of having to type it in. But we're taking that weight map we just created, and we have a target map. We want it to be a particle size map, and then we'll just call that size, like that. And so now we've got two maps here. We've got our weight map and a particle size map. That was just the same values as that weight map we created with the area fall off. It's just now designated as a particle size map. And we've got some little inputs here, which we'll deal with in 1 second. And the last thing we want to do, or second to last thing, is we want to do a spike operation. And what that'll do is add a point in the middle. Now, I wish it was in the middle, because it's not quite in the middle. So I had really thought that this would, my plan was that was going to add the polygon right in the middle. It just kind of does the closest to all the edges or whatever it's doing there, whatever the algorithm is. So that's just going to have to be good enough. I'm sure there's some way to maybe place a point in the very middle of all these. I'm not sure what it is, but for now we'll just have to live with this. So, and then we're just going to delete everything else. So we'll add another delete. Make sure you add a new one, not an existing one. And again, set to vertex, and then again, a select by previous operation. And that previous operation is going to be, whoops, not select by part. Select by previous operation. There it is. And the previous operation will be the spike, and then that'll allow us to, sometimes you have to click twice to get at the spike. And the center point. And then we're actually going to invert it, of course, because we want to, when just toggle verts here, want to keep that center point here. So if I disable this delete, we're going to select by those center points, and then we're inverting it, so it's deleting everything but those center points, leaving us with the center points. And then all these weight maps came along for the ride. So when we add a replicator to the scene and drag it into the schematic here, and we can set our prototype over here. That'll be the iMac. I have a little iMac in this scene. You can see it right here. I just got this off of GrabCAD. I'll put the credit below to the guy who made it. And then, so that's our prototype. And for the particle source, we'll use our points geometry right here. So I'll just double click the little yellow to bring it up and drag that in. There we go. So now those, let me just turn our plane back on. So now we've got little guys on all the polygons there, but they're all too big, right? So let's go back over to our remap weight. And one of the things right off the bat that's super annoying is this gradient is inverted. It just comes like that. It's a bug. I mean, it should be the other way. I've mentioned this multiple times. And so when I invert it, you see that they're much more the correct size. And we can adjust that size some more. So we can, instead of using the gradient input, we can actually use these inputs here. It's just called input. It's a little confusing. Parameters maybe would be a better word. Or we could use both. Well, let's just set it to, we can set it to both. And then our output minimum, let's say, is 0.2, and that'll just sort of bump everything up a little bit. We see our output maximum maybe 1.5. Again, is sort of just play around with them to get those sort of the size you want. And then when it's going to be doing this whole business here, you're going to, each of these polygons is going to have a replicator, an iMac in the middle of it. And that's that. So that's basically the effect. You can change the orientation of these. Like, I obviously like an iMac is probably not the best thing to be using because it's got this, here's a really narrow polygon with a really big iMac on it. So you can go adjusting these, but then that's like pretty dang small. So probably not the best choice for what I'm doing, but yeah, whatever, works for now. So there you go. There's the effect. I did make a 4. Turn on my 4 here. Yeah. Cool. Okay. I don't know what else to add, so we will leave it like that.
Yum, yum!